So taking this time to come into your body, noticing where you're holding tension. Begin to link your breath to movement, if that feels natural. The point of mindfully moving is just to be aware of what's going on in your body. It's not necessarily about linking breath to movement yet. That's that vinyasa flow. Whenever you hear that word vinyasa, it's just talking about linking the breath to movement. Eventually coming back to stillness within your own body. You can place one hand on your stomach, one hand on your heart. Breathing in through your nose and out through your nose. Not forcing the breath, just noticing that it is in fact happening. Together, take a deep breath in through the nose and a long sigh out the mouth. From your seated position, whether you're up on a prop or not, go ahead and inhale the arms up to frame the head. And on your exhale, twist to the right. Maybe you get some snap, crackle, pops. With every inhale in this twist, you get tall to the crown of the head. And on the exhale, maybe you relax the shoulders away from the ears. One more deep inhale, get tall to the crown, and then exhale to unwind and come back forward. Inhale the arms up to frame the head, and then exhale over to the left. Breathing deep in this twist, first thing in the morning, waking up the spine. One more deep inhale, tall to the crown, and then exhale to unwind as you come back forward. If you're on a prop, go ahead and remove that now. Go ahead and come to hands and knees. And from these hands and knees, continue to warm up the spine, inhaling to lift and tilt the tailbone up. And as you exhale, push the mat away from you and round through the spine, drawing the chin into the chest, drawing the belly button up to the spine. Into your own breath, just let this begin to organically flow through the movements. Inhaling to lift and tuck up, and then exhale to round and tuck down. Good morning, Sean. Thank you for tuning in and saying hello. It means the world. So once again, just warming up the spine, going through these cat-cows, inhaling to lift, and then exhale to push and round. And as you keep flowing through this, linking your breath to movement. Maybe this organically goes into some C curves, looking over the left side of the body and then the right. Eventually coming to sit back on your heels and kneeling, sitting up tall here. Inhale the arms up to frame the head, grab the left wrist with the right hand, and then exhale over to the right. Inhale back up through center, switch the grip, and then exhale over to the left. Inhale back up, switch the grip to the left, or to the right rather, excuse me. And then inhale, switch the grip, and last time to the left. Inhale back up, bring your hands down to the mat, walk them forward. If you need to take your knees wide to allow your trunk to get further to the mat, you may. On an inhale, when you're ready, lift the left arm up, look up, reach up, then thread that left arm under the right armpit, bring the left cheek to the mat. Unwinding on an inhale, bringing the left arm back out long to meet the right, and then on your exhale, surrender the forehead. Inhale, lift the arm up, look up, and then thread the right arm under the left armpit, bring the right cheek to the mat. Unwinding on an inhale, both arms out long at the top of your mat, surrender the forehead to the mat. Begin to pull yourself forward, bring your knees under your hip points, bring your wrists back so they're stacked under your shoulders. Go ahead and tuck the toes, lift the hips, and go back into down dog. Just build some heat by doing some sun A's here. So on an inhale, lift up to the tippy toes from down dog, look forward between your hands, glide forward to upper push-up position. If you need to realign your feet and your hands and readjust the amount of space between them, you may. Make sure the heels are stacked over the ball of the foot. Wrists are still stacked under the shoulders. Keep breathing. With every inhale, you get strong through the core. On the exhale, make sure you don't let your hips fall or sag. One more deep inhale through the core, get strong here, and then exhale, send the hips back. Lifting the hips high, the legs are extended fully, coming back into down dog. On an inhale, look between your hands. Exhale, step, walk, or jump, feet to hands. Inhale up for a halfway lift, and exhale to release. Inhale, come all the way up, sweep the arms up, bring the hands right down through prayer position and bow forward, back over those legs. Inhale up for a halfway lift. Exhale and release. Plant the hands, step it back to upper push-up position. Stay strong through the inhale, and on the exhale, begin to bend the elbows in toward the side bodies and lower the body to the mat in one piece. When you reach the ground, untuck the toes. Tops of the feet are pressed flat and firm into the earth. And on an inhale, lift the heart up for a little baby cobra. Exhale, release. Tuck the toes, push up through hands and knees or through child's pose, and send the hips high for down dog again. And let's do that whole thing again. So inhale, rise up to the tippy toes, look in between the hands, glide forward to upper push-up position. Hold. One deep inhale, maybe do a push-up if you need to build more heat. And then on the exhale, send the hips back, lowering the heels as close as you can to the mat. On an inhale, come up to both tippy toes, look in between the hands. Exhale, step, walk, or jump, feet to hands. Inhale up for a halfway lift. Exhale, release. Inhale, come all the way up, sweep the arms up, grab the left twist with the right hand. Exhale over to the right. Inhale back up, switch the grip, and exhale over to the left. Inhale back up, bring the arms out wide, swan dive over, forward folding back over your legs. Inhale up for a halfway lift. And exhale, release. Plant the hands, step it back to upper push-up position. Begin to hold strong. If you need to lower your back, knees down, of course, that is always an option. Just make sure that wherever you are, modified or full plank position, you are sending the heart forward. Inhale to engage through the core. And now on this exhale, bend the elbows in toward the side, bodies lower to the mat in one piece. Untuck the toes when you arrive. Inhale up for a little baby cobra. And exhale, release. Seal the hands to the mat. Go ahead and push up through plank or through hands and feet. And then send the hips back to down dog. Back in down dog again. Maybe this time you pedal out both feet. Maybe lower the shins to a hover above the mat. And then on your exhale, straighten the legs, extend them back. On an inhale, look between the hands. Exhale, step, walk, or jump, feet to hands. Inhale up for a halfway lift. And exhale to release. Inhale, come all the way up, sweep the arms up. And then sit the hips right on back to chair. No, there's no kitty pose yet. In your chair pose, your arms can be up, framing your head. They can be down in cactus. They can be out in front of you, or hands can come to heart center, or even on your hips. Begin to breathe, really breathing in through the core and tightening that up to protect your low back. So you're in chair pose right now. From this chair pose, sit your hips a little bit lower into that chair. One more deep inhale through the core, and then exhale, forward fold. Pour it out. Inhale up for the halfway lift, and then exhale to release. Plant the hands, step it back to upper push-up position. If you need to do any push-ups now, you may, but holding that plank, engaging through the core, pretending you're getting your picture taken. One final inhale, and then on your exhale, begin to bend the elbows in toward the side bodies and lower all of the way down. When you reach the ground, the toes untuck, tops of the feet press into the mat as you inhale to lift the chest just a little bit. Exhale to release. Tuck the toes, push up through hands and knees or planks, and the hips back to down dog. One more time. On an inhale, look between the hands. Exhale, step, walk, or jump, feet to hands. Inhale up for a halfway lift. Exhale, release. Listen, inhale up for a halfway lift this time, and then sit the hips back to chair. So it's a very small pivoting motion of coming up from that halfway lift rather than sitting back into chair. It's a way to make you enter chair in a deeper position or angle than you usually would. It's a little trick. In your chair pose, engaging through the core, making sure that you're not arching the back, the lower back too much. If you'd like to come up to your tippy toes, you absolutely may. If you'd like to grab your hands at the small of your back for a bind here, you could even do that, but be careful when you do that because we always tend to arch our backs more, which means you have to be very, very mindful of engaging that core and staying strong through there. Keep breathing. Notice if your shoulders have come all the way up to your ears, try to soften that and relax them away. Unclench the jaw. Relax the space between the eyes. One more deep inhale through that core. And then exhale, forward fold, straighten the legs, pour it out. Inhale up for a halfway lift. Exhale, release. Plant the hands, step it back to upper push-up position. Flow through your vinyasa. So that's holding for as long as you need to, doing push-ups if you want, and then bending the elbows in on an exhale, lowering to the mat, inhaling up for baby cobra, and then exhale to push back for that down dog. And that's that flow, that's that rhythm of linking the breath to movement. Inhale, exhale, and with each inhale and exhale, there's a series of movements that comes with that, right? It's really one breath per movement, kind of. I mean, not really, because, like, think about untucking the toes and, like, little minute stuff. I digress. Hopefully you get the point. So you're all back in down dog together. On an inhale, raise the right leg to hip height. Really focus on internally rotating that back foot, pointing the knees and the toes toward the ground. On an inhale, look between your hands, and then exhale, bring that right leg all the way up, foot in between the hands. Setting up this low lunge base. Feet are in two separate lanes for balance. You're up on the toes of the back left leg and foot. The heel is stacked over the toes. And then when you're ready, inhale, rise on up for full crescent. Settle in here. Track and pull the right front hip back, squaring your hips to the front of your mat. If your arms are up, framing your head, you can lower them down to cactus or heart center, or maybe try for that bind again. But if you're doing that bind, just make sure that you're not arching your back a lot. Wherever your hands might be, inhale them up to frame the head, reach up, look up, bring them down to frame the front foot, bring the back leg up to meet the front right. Now you're back in forward fold at the top of your mat. Inhale up for a halfway lift, exhale and release. Inhale, come all the way up, sweep the arms up, forward fold right back down again. Inhale up for a halfway lift, and then exhale to release. Step the right leg back to the back of the mat. You're coming right back into that low lunge position with the left foot forward. And when you're ready, inhale to rise. Settle in, making sure there's a nice 90-degree angle in the front knee. Think about lifting the back right thigh a little bit more. Pull the left front hip back to square the hips. If you want to feel that action, you can hold the hips with your hands. Breathe in through the core here. Wherever your hands are, inhale them up to frame the head, look up, reach up, and then exhale, bring them down to frame the front left foot. Bring the left foot back to meet the right. You're back in plank position. Hold this plank for 3 rounds of breath. After your third exhale, really on your third exhale is when you're going to be bending the elbows in toward the side bodies to lower down to the mat in one piece. Untuck the toes when you arrive. Press the tops of the feet into the mat as you inhale to lift the chest up. And then exhale to release. Tuck the toes, lift the hips, go right on back to down dog again here. Beautiful. From your down dog, on an inhale, lift the left leg to hip height. Really focus on that internal rotation, pointing the toes and the knee toward the earth. On an inhale, look between your hands. Exhale, sweep the left leg right on through. Plant the left foot in between both of the hands at the top of the mat. Lower the back knee down. So your right shin is against the mat right now. You can tuck the back right toes if that's not too much on your knee. And what we're going to do now is come into a little bit of flow here, going from this modified Anjaneyasana. Inhale the arms up to frame the head, and then plant the hands down. Extend the left leg, flexing through the left ankle, coming down into a runner's lunge. Inhale to rebend and rise. On that inhale, exhale, bring the fingertips down, extend the leg back, flex through the left ankle. And to your own breath, flow through this movement on your own. Inhaling to rise. Exhale to plant and extend. Inhaling up. Exhale, planting. You can pause in either one of these, maybe pausing at the top or pausing at the bottom. Just noticing the different sensations that come up in your body right now as you're flowing through this motion. We'll all end together at the top of an inhale. So, and then as you exhale, finally here, soften the shoulders away from the ears. Reach down, frame the front left leg, tuck the back right toes, come up off of the back right leg. You're back in your low lunge position. From here, swivel the back heel down, and then walk the hands in toward the middle. Point the left toes so that they're parallel with the right, so that your toes are pointing off of the mat sideways, and you're in a nice wide-legged forward fold here. You can walk your arms and hands forward or back through your legs. Maybe the hands come to each ankle. Walk your hands over toward the right foot now, because we're going to come into this on the other side. So you're going to be facing the back of your mat. Come up to the toes of the back, left leg. Lower the knee down, untuck the toes, or keep the knee tucked if that's okay on your knee. And then inhale to rise up. Exhale, plant the hands. Extend the weight back, flexing through the right front ankle. Inhale, rebend and rise. Exhale, plant and extend. Inhale, rise up, look up. Exhale, plant. Flowing through this to your own breath. Pausing wherever you need to pause and breathing all the while to get the blood flowing to these different muscle groups, to help you feel something differently, to help energy get moving, to help stagnant blood as well as energy to start flowing again. And we'll all end again on the inhale. Arms up. Exhale, relax the shoulders away from the ears. Plant the hands down. Tuck the back left toes. Come up off of the back left leg. Adjust your legs if you need to. And then on an inhale, bring the left leg all of the way up to meet the right. You're in your forward fold at the top of your mat. Inhale up for a halfway lift. Exhale and release. Inhale, come all the way up, sweep the arms up, sit the hips right back into chair. And breathe. Here in chair, we're working the quads, stretching the hips. All the weight of the body is going directly to those hips. Maybe lower the hips a little bit more toward the earth. One more deep inhale through the core for that stability, and then exhale, forward fold. Pour it all out, back in your forward fold at the top of your mat. Inhale up for that halfway lift, nice flat back. Exhale to release, plant the hands, step it back to upper push-up position. Holding for 2 full inhales and 2 full exhales. On the second exhale, you may bend the elbows in toward the side bodies and lower down to the mat in one piece. Untuck the toes when you arrive, press the tops of the feet into the mat, and inhale, lift the heart a couple of inches, it's very small. Exhale to release. Tuck the toes, push up through plank or through hands and knees, and come right back to down dog. On an inhale, come to both tippy toes and lower the heels over to the right. Nice side body stretch. Inhale the heels back up through center, and then exhale, the heels go over to the left. Inhale back up through center. Let the heels lower toward the earth as much as you can. Maybe pedaling out the feet a little bit more, bending the knees. On an inhale, raise the right leg to hip height. Bend at the knee, open and stack the hips. Nice three-legged dog. Beautiful. Really breathing here. Feeling the stretch in the front of your right hip. Inhale to straighten that leg. Exhale, lower it right down to meet the left. Inhale, lift the left leg up to hip height. Bend at the knee, open the hips, stack the hips. Opening and twisting toward the left side of your mat. Breathing in and exhale, allowing that length in the front of the left hip joint. On an inhale, straighten that leg again, and then exhale, set it down next to the right. On an inhale, look between your hands. Exhale, step, walk, or jump, feet to hands. Inhale up for a halfway lift. Exhale, release. Inhale, come all the way up. Sweep the arms up. Forward fold, right on back down again. Inhale up for that halfway lift. Sit the hips back to chair. And begin to breathe. If you would like to twist in this chair, if you want to stay right here in chair, that's totally fine. But I'll give you the option of twisting here. So if you'd like to twist to the right, you're going to bring your hands down to heart center, bring the left elbow to the outer right knee, and twist that way. As soon as your elbow connects with your right knee or gets as close to it as possible, look back at your left leg and make sure that that left knee is not popping out in front of the right. You want to keep the knees in alignment. So from here, you're pushing those palms together, lots of energy there, trying to get the hands right to the center of or the midline of the body. If you need to open your arms, you absolutely can. Breathing very deeply here, even though it feels like the breath may be constricted because of the twist, you can still breathe here, and it is very necessary. One more deep inhale in this twist, and on your exhale, untwist, unfold, straighten the legs, forward fold. Inhale up for that halfway lift. Exhale, release. Inhale, come all the way up. Sweep the arms up. Bring the hands down to your sides. Pause for a minute. Maybe shake your legs out. Inhale, look up, reach up. Bring the hands right down through center, forward fold. Inhale up for a halfway lift. And as you exhale, sit the hips back to chair. Inhale, lift the chest, stacking the shoulders over the hips as much as you can in chair. And thinking about stacking the shoulders over the hips in chair, because it's not exactly a possible thing. You know, you're not directly up, you're more at an angle like that. But thinking about bringing the shoulders back over the hips is a way to energistically cue those postural back muscles that keep your spine straight to maintain that flat back so you aren't arching that low back. And the other way to protect that is by engaging your core. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, really maybe firing up the breath, maybe coming up to your tippy toes. And then if you want to twist to the left, bring the hands down to heart center, and then twist to the left, bring the right elbow to the outside of the left knee. As soon as your elbow gets close to your left knee and that's where it stays, you look back at your right knee and pull the right knee back into alignment with the left so that they are at the same. You don't want one out in front of the other. You want to be in alignment. So in your twisted chair, maybe you open your arms, breathing, maybe feeling the belly expand and touch the tops of the thighs. If your hands are still together, pressing them in toward the midline will deepen this twist immensely. So just be a little bit gentle here and listen to your body. One more deep inhale through this twist, and then exhale, pour it out, straighten the legs, back in your forward fold. Inhale up for that halfway lift. Exhale, release. Plant the hands, step it back to upper push-up position, flow through your vinyasa, and we will all meet back in down dog. Once you flow through your vinyasa, And we're all back together in down dog. Inhale, lift the heels all the way up, come up to the tippy toes. Then exhale, lower the heels even further toward the mat. Beautiful. All right, let's come into some half pigeons here. On an inhale, raise your right leg to hip height. Look in between your hands. Exhale, bring that foot right on up and lower the shin down to the mat. Lower the back leg down, untuck the back left toes. And come on down into this half pigeon. If this causes you any knee pain, please bring your foot closer in towards your pelvis. You can stay up here if that's a lot for you. It certainly is for me right now. It's giving me plenty of sensation. I don't even need to move right now. Or if you're ready, then you can go ahead and crawl down to your degree. And begin to breathe. When you're ready, on an inhale, walk the hands back in toward the pelvis. If you want to bend that back left knee and reach for that back ankle, you absolutely can. Slowly releasing that leg back down. Hands come back forward, tuck the back left toes. Come up off of that right leg, bring the right leg back to meet the left. Come back into down dog and just pause here in the stillness, feeling the difference between your legs. All right, come into this on the other side. Inhale, lift the left leg up to hip height, look in between the hands, and on an exhale, bring that leg right on through, lower the shin down to the mat. Walk the right leg back, untuck those toes. Maybe stay up for a minute and feel the difference of the weight here in this pose versus crawling your hands down. And begin to breathe very deeply, sending all of the breath to the outer left hip. When you're ready, crawl the hands back in toward the pelvis. If you want to bend that back right knee and reach for that ankle, you may. Slowly releasing that leg down. All right, here's what I want you to do. Begin to roll to the outer left hip. Sweep the right leg around. Extend both legs out in front of you, and now you've come right into seated with the legs extended. Inhale the arms up to frame the head, and then exhale, go ahead and bow forward. Notice how far away or how close you are to your legs today. Maybe it's different than other days. On an inhale, begin to rise back up, stacking the shoulders over the hips. Bend both knees around to the left. Come back up through hands and knees, through tabletop. Tuck the toes, lift the hips, come right on back to down dog. On an inhale, look between the hands. Exhale, step, walk, or jump, feet to hands. Inhale up for a halfway lift. Exhale and release. Inhale, come all the way up, sweep the arms up. Bring the hands right down through heart center. Forward fold again. Inhale up through halfway lift. Exhale and release. Heel toe the feet out past hip distance. Begin to bend the knees very, very deeply. And we'll come into Bakasana, into crow. So go ahead and bring your hands out in front of you. You're sealing your hands to the mat. The inner knees come to the outer edges of the elbows. You begin to bend through the forearms, beginning to pour the weight. Maybe you just play with the actual sensations of pouring the weight into your hands and seeing how that feels. And then if you're ready, maybe going a little bit deeper, lifting the hips and the pelvis, all the while trying not to pour all of the weight out through your heart, because if you do that, then you may fall forward and do a face plant. So coming into crow, you lift one foot and the other. And maybe you touch back down, come back into it as many times as you'd like. Good morning, Isaiah. Thanks for saying hi. Coming back into it, lift one and the other. And then back down. And just kind of playing with that. Maybe you only get 1 foot up off the ground. And then from here, if you would like to go even further into a headstand or tripod, you absolutely may. For some people, crow might be absolutely enough, which is absolutely fine. If you want to gracefully go into that, and if you fully invert, wonderful. If you're still working on your crows, wonderful. Whenever you've had enough of that, we'll all meet down in child's pose. So bringing the knees nice and wide, big toes to touch. Send the hips down. And just pause and reground, reconnect. From your child's pose, begin to pull yourself back forward. Bring the knees back under the hip points, tops of the feet pressing into the mat. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, push the mat away from you, round through the spine, tuck the chin into the chest. And then come back to neutral. From here, come on up to this high kneeling position. So you're not with the hips back, you're lifted up. And we'll come into some camel. So for this camel pose, if you'd like to have your toes tucked, you absolutely can, or the feet can be flat, it's up to you. We're going to start with the left arm. So inhale, lift the left arm up, look back, follow the hand back. Now you can't exactly do that with the right, so you're going to have to trust it as you inhale, and then bring it back, reaching for that back ankle, letting the throat relax back. To come out of this, lift up, bend the hips simultaneously, crawl the hands out in front of you, coming right back into child's pose. Really, really enjoy that child's pose here, especially after such an intense back bend. Child's pose is absolutely necessary. If I were there with you right now, I would come around and give everyone a beautiful assist by pushing down on the hips to really, really bring some space in between all of the lumbar vertebrae that you just compressed in that lovely back bend. Another way that we can bring some space into the low back after an intense back bend like that, here, let's all come into this together. So go ahead and slowly come back up out of child's pose. Come back down to seated position. Your knees are going to be tented. You can go ahead and find a pillow of some kind or a prop. I'm going to use this meditation cushion. And what you're going to do is you're going to place it right up against the back of your sacrum where your hips meet the mat. And then you can slowly lean back onto it. Your knees are tented, feet are planted, and you can just kind of chill out here. This is a modified bridge pose, and what this does is the prop creates this beautiful space in all of the lumbar vertebrae. It's called traction. It's literally pulling your discs apart, and so you're having less compression on the actual disc. So the vertebrae are being kind of pulled apart just a little bit. If you have a yoga block, it's really fun to play with the different tallness settings of the block. And while you're here in this modified bridge, it's a really beautiful sensation to focus on the front of the throat, to try to aid that in relaxing while you're here. For some people, leaning the head back in camel is super intense because the throat is such a vulnerable space. So, since we just did that camel and now we're here in this supported pose to kind of counterbalance that back bend that we just did, creating space in the lumbar, just really feel the breath come up and over the back of the throat. Maybe tuck the chin into your chest a little bit more. Instead of having the throat space exposed, maybe tuck the chin a little bit. All right, let's go ahead and begin to come down out of this. So you can slowly lift the hips, remove the prop from underneath the low back, and then slowly lower the back down so your whole spine is nice and rested against the earth. Bring the arms out long in a capital T, palms facing down. Inhale the knees up into the chest, using the core to get them there. And then exhale, lower the knees over to the right. Maybe look over your left arm if that's comfortable for your neck. Maybe feeling some more snap, crackle, pops. On an inhale, use the core, bring the legs back up through center. Maybe roll around on your sacrum a little bit and massage the low back. And then when you're ready, go ahead and exhale the legs over to the left, looking out over the right arm. Maybe taking the left hand to the top of the right leg. On an inhale, using the core, bring the knees back up through center. Rolling around on the sacrum again here. Really getting a feel for what part of your low back is sore right now. Alright, bring your arms down along your sides. If you'd like to place your hands under your sacrum, you may. Extend both legs up. You can point and flex the feet, getting into the front of the ankles. And just letting all that energy drain back to the core. Go ahead and bring your hands from under your sacrum if they are there. Reach down in between your legs. Grab your outer feet for a happy baby. And at this time, if you need to take anything else to complete your practice, whether it's a shoulder stand or if you need to flow through another vinyasa and rinse everything off before settling in, taking whatever you need for these last few minutes of movement. Maybe just coming into some mindful movement. Just feeling what's going on in the body right now. And then when you're all done, we will settle into Shavasana. The legs are long out on the mat. The feet naturally splay open. The arms are down along your sides, palm facing up or down. You could even take one hand to your heart and one hand to your stomach if that's what's calling to you right now. It certainly helps me to connect to my breath more. If you need to put a pillow underneath your knees, take the curvature out of your low back. You may absolutely do that if you're getting any sensation in the low back. It's always a nice idea to put a pillow under your knees for that extra support. And this is a period of silence. I will bring you out of it with my voice when we are done. Enjoy Shavasana. Start to wiggle your fingers and toes. Gently go ahead and roll over to your right side. When you're ready, use your hands and arms to push yourself up to a seated position. On an inhale, reach up, lift up, look up. Bring the hands down to heart center. Press the thumbs right into the heart space, bow the head to the heart, lift the heart to the head, bringing the two closer together. Thank you so very much for joining me this morning. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day and a wonderful weekend. The light and the truth in me sees that and honors it in each of you. Namaste, everyone.